Want to see the world's worst bathroom completely transform? Welcome to our 1890s Victorian home that's full of design fails and desperately needs overhauling. This bathroom is a particular state. Plug sockets in the skirting, carpet on the floor, a shower that's clinging on for dear life. Yeah. So we started by ripping all of that out, which very quickly went from stripping the wallpaper to bringing down the walls and the ceiling. As in most Victorian houses, these were made from original lard and plaster, which is no longer stable and an absolute dusty nightmare to get rid of. But you know, we did it. Then I had this grand idea of opening up the ceiling to see if we could have it vaulted like those pretty ones that you see on Insta. In my head, I was like, well, how hard can it be? Spoiler alert, it was extremely hard. Not only did the ceiling create the most mess we've ever had to deal with, but we soon ran into loads of problems. Problems like the original rafters not being deep enough to hold modern day insulation, a requirement if you want to have a vaulted ceiling under a pitched roof. So we had to DIY this bit, and this was probably the worst 2 days of my life. My back is permanently damaged by this, and yet this was only the beginning. On top of that, we had to cut down and fit 2 layers of insulation plus a vapour barrier layout on top of that. At this point, it all felt so killer. My soul was just dying, my body was packing in, and throughout all of this was still our only bathroom. So yeah, we are still showering in this every single day. But let me tell you the elation we felt when that installation was over. Like, I've never felt so euphoric. It was like being at the Renaissance tour all over again. Then to keep these original beams exposed, we had to give them a little tar up, which meant dusty sanding, lots of cleaning, slapping on several coats of oil to stop these boys rotting. I think we had roof PTSD at this point and just got through it as fast as possible. But of course, there was still more to do. The original fireplace was a whole project in itself. I stripped back the surround, got it all primed and added some corbels for character and restored the cast iron inner too. My brain is just bathroom renovation mush now, but still some yacht varnishing on our vintage vanity to do. She is going to look gorgeous though, and those beams needed bagging up for protection from future plastering plans. And speaking of plans, here are all the bits for our bathroom. The scheme is very orange, geometric and terrazzo tiles with accents of bluey green, brass and neutral walls, and it feels like it's just never going to happen. But after months and months of hard graft, we are very nearly there. So close. I cannot wait for this all to be done. We had to get the pros in to put in new plumbing and electrics, and in one day they had gutted the place. New plumbing and walls went in so fast, and I'm sure you're thinking, where on earth were you washing at this point? For 5 or so weeks we were relegated to a camping shower in a pop-up tent outside our kitchen window. Don't renovate a house, people, it's horrible. We also lost the original fireplace around in the first fix process. The wall around it was so wonky, it would have literally been buried by the depth of plasterboard. Then before we knew it, the place was plasterboarded, and this is why I want professionals to do everything, because what takes them 3 days takes us 3 weeks. I bought a new fireplace around on Etsy, a similar style to the original, and primed that in preparation for the next big step. Plastering. 4 blokes did this in a day, can you believe? And then the renovation ball was back in our court. A week later, once the plaster had dried out, we miscoated the whole space, and with ceilings over 3 meters tall, let me tell you, this was not fun. The trapped nerve in my neck was like, whoa, calm down, cowgirl. But seeing paint on the walls gave us that first glimpse of a finished room, a great feeling. Then it was time to tank the shower area before the tiler arrived. Tanking is basically a way of waterproofing an area that's going to get wet regularly, like a shower. It's a liquid membrane that dries to a waterproof finish, so not a drop can get into that plaster. And this was the first time I'd done this. I have to say, not too tricky to DIY. Then things got really exciting. The moment we've been waiting for so long, getting the final paint on these walls and the tiles in. We went for a neutral shade because, let me tell you, our tiles are bold. This is clearly the moment I lost the will to live. Even more evident when I thought painting at night in the dark was a good idea. But fortunately, it all worked out okay in the end, and we were one step closer to finishing. I even caulked around the edges of the beams because details matter, people. And finally, the beams can be freed from their plastic prison. They are just giving so much in this room. Character, depth, life. And it still felt like so far to go at this point, but the best part of the process was about to happen. Tiling time. Over the course of a week, our tiler kitted out the loo and the bathroom, and suddenly, at long last, things were taking shape. It all looked a bit crazy, but it was back to work to get this place done. Getting the fireplace in was a total ball ache that I won't bore you with, but caulking and painting soon made it look like it was meant to be there all along. And we were doing all of this around full-time jobs, so late nights, early mornings, weekends, whenever we could fit it in, became the norm. Every little thing you see on screen took us hours and hours. I mean, it's no surprise this renovation lasted 5 months, but now let's get into the home stretch. The builders returned to fit the bathroom, and boy was this a euphoric few days. Seeing our vision finally come to life was something special. Then just a few finishing touches to get this room officially finished. Painting inside the boiler cupboard, oiling our wooden doors, all quite boring but all so essential to making our hard work last. And then, are you ready for this? The world's worst bathroom is finally the world's best bathroom. All of those exhausting hours have amounted to something quite unbelievable. I still can't believe we thought this up and brought it to life through our own endless planning and hard graft. Never did I think I'd get to live in a Victorian house in London, let alone living in one that looks like this. It's a real luxury to have a space like this, and every day feels a bit like living in a posh hotel. What a privilege, and what a wild 5 months.